Yes, what is a vector quantity? Right. So let's say this is some vector A. So this will have some magnitude and this will have some vector direction, right? Right. Right, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And there are two kinds of representation. One is the Cartesian form or the unit vector form, universal unit vector form, right? And the other one is the polar form. So before I do that, what is the universal unit vectors? What are the universal unit vectors? So these are, let's say you have these 3 dimensions, right? Okay, and you divide them in slices of 1 units in all directions, right? Okay, and this Z direction. Right, so each one block is the representation of 1 in this direction, 1 in this direction, and 1 in this direction. So this 1 unit is called the ith vector in x direction, and in y direction you have j, and in z direction you have k. Right, so there are 3 universal unit vectors. Right, these you already know, right? I, j, and k. Right, and the magnitude, of course, would be what? Unit means the magnitude would be what? 1. Right, guys? And you can write any vector. Let's say in 2 dimension, you will have in the universal vector form, you would have this kind of representation. Right. And what would be the angle between these ax and y? So you can calculate the angle like this. Right. Not the root. Okay, guys. And let's say if you have 3 dimensions, so what would be the form? So this would be right, guys. And what would be the magnitude? So magnitude would be simply ax square and ay square, right? And what would be the magnitude here? So this would be, so I'm just recalling what you have learned in your 11th class, right, about vectors, right, guys? And then you have what? The polar form. So in polar form, the magnitudes of 2 vectors will be given. So let's say A and B will be given, and the angle between A and B would be given, right? So then what would be the resultant? So the resultant of vector A and vector B would be R, and the magnitude would be what? A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, right? So this is in the polar form, if you only know the magnitude of both the vectors. And what would be the angle between the resultant? So this is, these are the 2 vectors, right? And this is the resultant. So the angle between this A vector and the resultant would be what? This would be B sine theta by A plus B cos theta, right? And if I take the subtraction of 2 vectors, right? So if I take A minus B, so this is A plus B, right? This is A plus B, and this would, let's say I take A minus B, right? So then what would be the magnitude? So then the magnitude would be, okay, guys, and then what would be the angle? The angle would be A minus B cos theta, right, guys? These I am just recalling. Okay. And then you have a product of two vectors, right? Product of two vectors. Okay. So product of two vectors, there are two products. One is the scalar product, and the other one is the vector product. Right. So in scalar product, as the name suggests, when you multiply two vectors, right, then the resultant is some number, right, some scalar. So then that is called the scalar product. And when you multiply two vectors and you get a vector, then that is a vector product, right? So how is the scalar product described, right? So scalar product or the dot product. This is defined like this. Right, so A, B cos theta, right? And you guys have already learned about the work done in external electric field or like that. So you get some dot product in that scenario, right? And you have, yes, so one more thing is that the projection. So projection of vector A on vector B. This is defined like this. Okay. And projection of vector B on vector A would be what? Right. So this much you guys already know. Okay. And if you have two vectors in the universal unit vector form, so the product would be what? Ax bx plus ay by plus az bz. Right, and then you have this cross product or the vector product. I'm just quickly going through the recap of what you learned in your vector class, right? In your vectors classes. Right, so vector product is defined like how? So this is AB sine theta, right? And then you have n cap. So how do you decide the direction of this n cap? So let's say, you have this vector A and this vector B, right? And you go from A cross B. Okay, so the direction of A cross would be that can be determined using the Maxwell's thumb law, right-hand thumb law, right? So if you place your palm in the direction of A and then you go in the direction of B, so your thumb, whichever the direction your thumb is pointing out, so that would be the direction of your cross product, right? So in this case, the direction would be outward direction. So this would be this direction, right? So you have, let's say you have arrows, right? So this is the shape of the arrows, right? So if you see the arrow from the front, which is coming towards you, so you will see like this, right? And whenever you see the arrow from behind, so this will look like this, right? So this direction shows the direction going inward, and this direction shows the direction in outward direction. Okay. So this was all about the and in where this cross product is used. So you use it in calculating the area of parallelogram. So the area of parallelogram is how much? Half A cross, right? And the magnitude you calculate. Okay, so understood up to this point. Any question? This was just some recap of what you learned in your vector classes, right, guys? Right, guys? Any doubt up to this point? This you have already learned in your vector classes. Guys, you can answer me, right? I'm not a ghost or I'm not a monster, okay? So you guys can talk to me, can talk about the doubts or the confusion, right? And I will try to answer that, okay? So I want this class to be interacting, okay? Because if you guys are interacting, then I can know that that I'm going in the right direction, right? And then I will know that you guys are understanding or not. Okay. Okay, guys. So any doubt up to this point?
No, sir.
Okay. Now let us do some question that that I have prepared. Okay. So let us do this question. Right. I will focus on the question which are for the JEE point of view, right? So this in this question, two forces P plus Q, P minus Q, right? Where P is perpendicular to Q, when act an angle θ1 to each other, the magnitude of their resultant is this, right? So let's say two forces P plus Q and P minus Q, right? So what would be the magnitude of this force P plus Q? Let's say the magnitude is M. Okay. And we already know that what would be the magnitude of P plus Q? This would be how much? The magnitude of P plus Q. Anyone? Guys, magnitude of A plus B. This is P square plus Q square plus 2AB PQ and cos theta. And what is the angle between P and Q? 90 degree, right? So this is cos 90, so this is 0. So your M is M square is what? P square plus Q square. Right, and let's say what is the magnitude of this P minus Q? So magnitude of P minus Q would be again P square plus Q square minus of 2PQ and then cos 90. Right. So cos 90 is again 0. So N square is what? P square plus Q square. Right. Now in this question, what they have asked, the magnitude of their resultant is. So the magnitude of these two forces, one magnitude is M and the other magnitude is N, right? So their magnitude is will be what? M and N magnitude will be what? So let's say magnitude of the other one, right? So this would be M square plus N square plus 2mn cos of theta, right? So the angle between them is what? θ1, right? Right, guys? So this magnitude is, yes?
No, sir. I was just saying yes.
Yes. So, and the magnitude is given, which is 3p square plus q square, right? So this is 3 root over p square plus q square, right? So this would be how much? M square is what? P square plus q square. And you can see that M and N are equal, so you can write them as equal. Okay, so this is 2 and then m square, so p square plus q square whole square, right? Okay. Did I write? So m, okay, not the whole square, but only p square plus q square, right? And cos theta, right? So this is squaring both sides. We will get what? 3p square plus q square. And this would be how much? So this would be 2p square. So 2p square plus 2q square plus 2p square plus q square, and then cos theta. Right. So this is 3p square plus q square, and this is 2p p square plus 2q square. So one would be minus. So this will be what? P square plus q square is 2p square plus q square, and then cos theta 1. Right. Right, guys. So now this cancels. Okay. This cancels, and we have what? 1 by 2 is cos theta. Right. So what would be the value of theta 1? What would be the value?
60.
Yes, 60. Right. So theta 1 is 60. Okay. Now let us calculate what is theta 2. So now the other part is that the magnitude of the resultant becomes this if the angle is theta 2, right? So the resultant becomes this, right? If the angle between them is theta 2. So this we already solved. So this was what? 2p square plus q square and 2p square plus q square cos theta 2. Right. So this would be what? 2p square plus q square, and then 2p square plus q square plus 2p square plus q square, right? Cos theta 2. Right, guys? So this will cancel. So 0 is 2p square plus q square, right? Cos theta 2. So this can't be 0, this can't be 0, right? So cos theta 2 is 0, right? So theta 2 would be what?
90.
Right, 90. So you get theta 1 60 and theta 2 90, right? So statement 1 is saying that theta 1 is less than theta 2. So you get 60, which is less than 90. So 1 is correct, right? And from this statement, we find that theta 1 is 60 and theta 2 is 90, right? So which option will be correct? Which option is correct? Statement 1 is false, so this is incorrect. Both statement and yes. So which is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so this is correct. So are you guys noting it down or what? You guys are only understanding.
So noting it down.
Okay, so where should I put up this screen? I forgot. I scrolled down, and where were you noting down? At which point did I move ahead? So where should I put this screen?
So
At
from
which-
here, sir.
From here, okay.
Yes.
And is there anyone else is noting down? Okay, you guys can talk, right? If you guys are zombies, then I can't say anything. But if you guys are humans, then you guys can talk, right? Because it doesn't matter if you are right or wrong. Okay. The only thing is that you guys are interacting. Okay, guys. Yes, so Madiha, you were noting, right?
Yes, sir.
So whenever you
Second
come,
one.
yes.
Yes. All right, sir.
Hmm. Okay, so let me rub this part and do this second problem. So you guys already know the resolution of vectors, right? Okay. So who is writing in the chat box? So for theta1, how did we get, yes. Yes, so now we are talking, Tari, right? So for theta1, right, for theta1, it is written that the magnitude of their resultant. So the magnitude of this m and n, okay, the magnitude of this m and n is given 3p square plus q square, right? I just use that. Okay, is that okay, Tarif?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so let us do this second problem. So before I do this second problem, you guys already know about the resolution of vectors, right?
So can you give like a recap type of ones?
A recap of what?
So we had this triangle. No, I mean sorry, triangle law of vector.
Yes, so I talked about that. Okay. Yes, so okay, so triangles law or parallelogram law, any law we can use to calculate the resultant, right? So when I was in here, right? So I used this triangle law, right? So in parallelogram law, you have what? So this is the triangle law, right? That
Yes.
you put, so vector has two parts, right? One is the tail and the other one is the head, right? So triangle law says that if you put the tail of the other vector into the head of the other vector, so the resultant would be the line joining the uh, tail and the head of the other vectors, right? So this is the triangles law. But what about the parallelogram law? So let's say you have this vector, right? Vector B and vector A. So you keep this B, you take this B and you take it here, right? And you do a parallel, you draw a parallel exactly with the same magnitude and the direction as B over here at the head of this vector. Okay. And then again, you draw the vector A, same magnitude and same direction on the head of this vector B. So we'll have a parallelogram, right? So when you join that diagonal, so this would be the resultant, right? So this is the resultant in the triangles law, and this is the resultant in the parallelograms law. Both give the same magnitude, right? And
Yes.
and how do we calculate the resultant? So this is the alpha angle. This is the angle theta, right? And we draw a perpendicular at this point, right? So this is B. Okay, and this is B, this is theta, so this would be what? This would be what? Yes.
B B sine theta. No.
Yes, right. Why are you hesitating? You can either be wrong or right. So why bother? Right. So B sine theta, and this is B cos theta, right? And
Yes.
this much is A, right? So
Yes.
this is the magnitude of the resultant, right? So Pythagoras theorem. So this is the effective triangle, right? So this is A plus B cos theta, right? And this is B sine theta. So we can calculate the magnitude. So this would be how much? Root of B sine theta square and A plus B cos theta square, right? So this would be how much? So B square sine square theta plus A square plus 2AB cos theta plus B square cos square theta, right? So cos square, B square cos square theta, B square sine square theta, B square common,
Right.
sine square. So this is B square, right? So B square plus A square plus 2AB cos theta. And when you rearrange them, so this is how you calculate the magnitude of the resultant, right? For
Yes, sir.
the addition of the vectors, right? And what would be the angle? So this is the angle alpha. So tan alpha is P by B, right? So B sine theta upon A plus B cos theta, right? So this is how you calculate. And what about the subtraction? So for the subtraction case, let me for the subtraction case, what is the idea that we do for subtraction? So let's say this is A, this is B, right? So for subtraction, we take the anti-parallel of this vector B, right? And then we use, so this is minus B. And then we use the parallelogram law or whatever law, right? So this is, okay, right? So this is the subtraction of vectors. So now tell me, so this is the angle theta here, right? So, okay, so this is the angle theta, so this is the angle theta here, right? So now if this is theta, this is B, so this would be how much?
So what? Which angle?
This angle. This is theta and this is B, right?
Yes,
So,
so
so this would be how much? This one,
B cos theta,
right? B cos theta, and this is how much? B
B
sine,
sine theta.
right? And you see that this whole thing is what? A. So this distance would be how much? A minus B cos theta, right?
A minus B. Yes, sir.
So when you again use this Pythagoras theorem, so this is the effective diagram, right? So effective diagram is what? A minus B cos theta and and this is what? B sine theta, right? So this is the resultant of subtraction. So again, if you solve, so this would be how much? B square sine square theta plus A square plus B square cos square theta minus 2AB cos theta. Right, so this would be directly I'm writing. So A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. And this is the resultant. And what would be the angle here? So tan alpha would be B sine theta upon A minus B cos theta. Right, so this is what you were asking.
Yeah, sir. This was the final
Okay.
thing I was asking. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Arey, this is my job, so no need to say me thank you. Okay. Yes, so let us do this second question. Okay, so before I do that, let us recap that if you have this, so as Madiha was telling, this is A, and let's say you have this X and Y direction. So let's say this is a vector. So this would be ax, right? And this would be ay. So we can write a vector as ax I hat, ay j hat. So ax would be how much? A cos theta I hat, and ay would be how much? A sine theta j hat, right? So this is all about the resolution of vectors, right? So we will use this property in this question. Okay, so this horrific looking figure. Okay, so you have what? OP, OQ, OR, OS, and OT vectors. Okay, so you have let me draw this diagram. So you have this okay. And then you have OP. Okay, so let me choose different colors for. Okay, so oh, let me draw it by hand. So OP. Okay, so this is O and this is P, and the magnitude is what? 20, and the angle is what? 60, right? Right, guys. And
Yes.
then you have what? Then you have this OQ vector. So OQ, right? They have the same color. So OQ is 10, right? And the angle is 30, right? And OT is yes. So OT is so magnitude is 15 Newton, and the angle is how much? 30 degree, right, guys? And
Yes.
then we have what? How many vectors? 1, 2, 3 is done. 1, 2, 3, and 2 more. So OS. So OS is 45 degree, right? And magnitude is 15 Newton, right? And then we have this OR. Okay. Yes. OR is 45 degree. Okay, this is not. Let me write it. So this is 45 degree, and magnitude is what? 20 Newton. So this is OR. Okay. So first we need to calculate, or we need to break all these in the what? In this form, in the universal unit vector form. So then that would be easy. Okay. Because the answer is in the universal unit vector form. Okay. So
Yes.
first let us calculate what is OP. Okay. So what is OP? OP is 60, right? So 20 cos 60 I hat plus 20 sine 60 j hat. Okay. So this is how much? 20 1 by 2 I hat plus 20 root 3 by 2 j hat. Okay, so this is 10. This is 10. So this is how much? 10 I hat plus 10 root 3 j hat. Am I correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we have OQ. So this OQ is how much? So magnitude is 10. So 10 cos angle is 30 plus 10 sine 30 j hat. So this would be how much? 10 root 3 by 2 I hat plus 10 half j hat. So this is 5 and this is what? 5 and so this would be how much? 5 root 3 I hat plus 5 j hat. Okay. Now we have to take some care in this part, right? Because this is in which direction? Minus I direction, right? Right, guys?
Right, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so OT would be how much? So OT is magnitude is 15, right? 15 cos 30 and what? Minus I hat. Right, guys? And then we have 15 sine 30 and then j hat. Okay, so this is in the positive y direction. So this would be how much? Minus 15 cos 30 is root 3 by 2. And I hat plus this is how much? 15 half j hat. Okay, so this is minus 15 root 3 by 2 plus 15 by 2 j hat. Okay, now what is left? OS. So this is both in the minus, right? Minus I and minus j. Am I correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. So OS would be what? 15 is the 15 is the magnitude and 15
Cos
cos
5
yes 45 and then minus
minus I.
right
Yes.
right and then
My 15 sine 45 minus
right
j. Yeah.
right. So this would be how much? 15 by root 2, right? And minus I and then plus uh, 15 and then again minus. So minus of 15 and then by root 2 and then j hat. Okay, now one guy is remaining. Okay, so this guy, OR. So OR would be how much? So this is 20 Newton. So,
So 20
yes,
20 cos 45
yes,
I cap
yes,
and then a minus
yes,
20 sine 45 minus j cap.
yes. So minus. Okay. So this would be how much? So let us change this into, let's rationalize this root in the numerator. Okay, so this would be how much? 15 root 2 by 2 I hat minus 15 root 2 by 2 j hat, right? And this would be how much? 20 by root 2 I hat and 20 by root 2 j hat. Okay, yes. So this would be how much? 20 root 2 by 2 I hat. So and 20 root 2 by 2 j hat. So 10 and 10. So this would be how much? 10 root 2 I hat and 10 root 2 j hat. Okay. Now all the vectors are calculated. Okay, so let us write them in this place. So OP is how much? OP is yes 10I 10I plus 10 root 3j. Okay, and then 5 root 3I plus OQ is 5 root 3I plus 5j. And then OT is how much? OT is minus 15 root 3 by 2I, and then plus 15 by 2j. And then OS is how much? OS is minus 15 root 2 by 2I and minus 15 root 2 by 2j. Okay, and then you have this OR. So OR is 10 root 2I and then 10 root 2j. Okay, now they want us to calculate the resultant. So resultant would be what? Simply OP plus OQ plus OT plus OS plus OR, right? So, and what they are also saying that we have to take root 3 as 1.7 and root 2 as 1.4. Okay. So we have to take like that. So OP is 10 and I plus 10 root 3 j plus 5 root 3 I plus 5j minus 15 root 3 by 2 I, and then plus 15 by 2j, and then minus 15 root 2 by 2I, and then plus and then minus of 15 root 2 by 2j, and then 10 root 2 I and minus 10 root 2j. Okay, so is there a simple number? 10I and then 10I and then no other simple number. What we can do, right? So let us take the values then. 10I, 10 root 3, so this is 1.7. So this is 17j, right? This is root 3, so 1.7 and then into 5, so 8.5i, right? And then you have 5j. And this is again 1.7, so 1.7 and 85 and then 17. So this would be how much? So 255, right? 255 by 2. Okay, so 255 by 2i, and this is 15 by 2. Yes, so this is 7.5 j, and this is again 1.4.
So
Yes.
it's 22.5, right?
Yes, of course. Yes. I missed this point. Yes. So it's 22.5. 22.5. Yes, and this is 15 root 2. So this is 60, and this is 21, right? So this is 21 by 2. And again, this is same, so 21 by 2. And this is 14, and this is how much? So this is 10, so this is again 14. Now this looks somewhat simpler, right?
Yes.
So this would be how much? 10i and then 8.5, so 18.5, and then okay. So this is how much? 1.25, right? And This is how much? 10.5. And this is 10.5. Okay, so this is 18.5 and 18.5 plus 11.25 is what?
29.75.
29.75. Yes, 29.75. And then we should minus this, right? Oh,
Oh, yeah, so
let's,
sorry.
yes. So let us take the plus one, one side, and then the minus one, the other side. Not the other side, but in next to, yes. So this, yes, plus 49. So this is plus one, and you have what? Minus one is 8.5, and then 11.25. And do we have, yes, so plus 10.5, right? And then you have this j, so 17 plus 5j, and then you have this 7.5, and then you have this minus of what? 10.5 and then 14, right? So this would be how much? This is 24.
42.5.
Yes, 32.5. And minus of this is how much? So
29.75.
yes, so this is 19. Right, 19 and then 11.
Oh, sorry,
So
sir.
19 and 11, 30, 30.25, right?
0.5, yes.
Okay. And then you have what? And then you have this 17 and so 17, 22 and 29.5. And then you have what? This, so this is how much? 24.5, right? So this is how much? So this is 2.5 and this is 2. And this is how much? So 0 and this is
Right.
5. Okay, so do we have this number? Oh, this was a very long. Yes, so this is not in the option. Okay, so we have to check where did we do something wrong, right? We have to check, so we will do this in the next class. Okay, so before I leave, let me check where did I. So half root 3, and this is correct. This is yes. So OP, OQ, and then we had this 15, 15, and 20. I don't know. We have to check where did I do some wrong. Right, yes. Okay, so before I leave, let us do this third problem, which is a very simple one. Okay. And you guys, please check where. So are you guys noting it down?
Yeah, so
Okay, so you have to check where did we do something wrong. Okay, you have to check. So where should I keep? Because this is wrong, so you need not to write this. Okay, you need not to note it down. Okay. So we can take this question in the next class, and let us do this problem. Okay, so this one is the simpler one. Okay, this one is some direct question and we can do that. So you guys please take the screenshot of this question. Okay, And you already know the idea, the method, the approach to solve this problem, right? We have to break all the vectors in the component form, in the two universal vector form, and then we have to add this.
So,
Yes,
so I think we have done mistake in OP vector.
OP.
Yeah,
20
it is 20, like it is 20 cos 30, I think.
So you see that I changed the angle, right? So this is 30. So this would be 60, right? So from X, we measure the angle, right? From the horizontal direction, we may measure the angle, right? So this is 20 cos 60, right?
So I didn't get it. Can you explain it once? Like,
Okay, so this is this one is the clear picture. Okay, so you see that your OP is 30 degree, is making an angle 30 with the y-axis, right? And
yes.
and we measure the
Okay, sir, I got
angle.
it.
Yes.
Yes, sir, I got it.
So
I got it. Sorry, sir. I got it.
no problem. Okay, so we will check, and I will check where did I do the mistake, and then I will tell you where did I do the mistake. Okay, so you guys, in the meanwhile, please take the screenshot of this question. Okay, and you guys know the approach and try to solve this. Okay, did you guys take the screenshot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us do this problem and then we can leave. Okay, so let me just quickly solve this problem. This is a direct question, right? So remember this diagram, right? So this is the diagram, and this angle. Okay, so this angle is 120, right? So what would be this angle?
60. Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
60.
yes, 60. So this would be 60, right? This is 60, and what do we know about the subtraction of vector? What is the angle? Right? Am I correct?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
So angle is 60 here. So this is b root 3 by 2 by a minus b cos 60 is half, right? So this would be how much? Root 3b by 2 by 2a minus b by 2. So this is a more simpler question. Okay, it directly came out from this subtraction of vectors, right? So the angle between vector A and A minus B. So A minus B is this, and the